Athens, Greece, AP. Mikis Theodorakis, the beloved Greek composer whose rousing music and life of political defiance won acclaim abroad and inspired millions at home, died Thursday. He was 96. His death at his home in central Athens was announced on state television and followed multiple hospitalizations in recent years, mostly for heart treatment. Theodorakis' prolific career that started at age 17 produced a hugely varied body of work that ranged from somber symphonies to popular television and the film scores for Serpico and Zorba the Greek. But the towering man with trademark worker suits, hoarse voice and wavy hair also is remembered by Greeks for his stubborn opposition to post-war regimes that persecuted him and outlawed his music. He lived with passion, a life dedicated to music, the arts, our country and its people, dedicated to the ideas of freedom, justice, equality, social solidarity, Greek President Katerina Sakellaropoulou said in a statement. He wrote music that became intertwined with the historical and social developments in Greece in the post-war years, music that provided encouragement, consolation, protest, and support in the darker periods of our recent history. Born Mihail Theodorakis on the eastern Aegean island of Chios on July 29, 1925, he was exposed to music and politics from a young age. He began writing music and poetry in his teens, just as Greece entered World War II. During the war, he was arrested by the country's Italian and German occupiers for his involvement in left-wing resistance groups. Some of those same groups bitterly opposed the government and monarchy that led immediately Greece after the war, leading to a 1946-49 civil war in which the communist-backed rebels eventually lost. Theodorakis was jailed and sent to remote Greek islands, including the infamous re-education camp on the small island of Makronishos near Athens. As a result of severe beatings and torture, Theodorakis suffered broken limbs, respiratory problems and other injuries that plagued his health for the rest of his life. He suffered tuberculosis, was thrown into a psychiatric hospital, and was subjected to mock executions. Despite the hardships, he managed to establish himself as a respected musician. He graduated from the Athens Music School in 1950 and continued his studies in Paris on a scholarship in 1954. A prolific career as a composer began in earnest, as he worked in a huge range of genres from film scores and ballet music to operas, as well as chamber music, ancient Greek tragedies and Greek folk, collaborating with leading poets including Spain's Federico Garcia Lorca and the Greek Nobel laureate Odysseus Elitis. A music series based on poems written by Nazi concentration camp survivor Iakovos Kambanelis, The Ballad of Mauthausen, described the horrors of camp life and the Holocaust, but it was the Oscar-winning film adaptation of Nikos Kazantzakis' Zorba the Greek in 1964, and the slow, too frenetic title score by Theodorakis that made him a household name. The movie starring Anthony Quinn, Ellen Bates and Irene Papas picked up 3 Academy Awards. As Theodorakis' fame grew, political turmoil in Greece continued, and his compositions were banned by a military dictatorship that governed the country between 1967 and 1974, turning his music into a soundtrack of resistance that would be played at protest rallies for decades. Tireless in later life, Theodorakis continued to work with emerging artists and compositions that included music for the opening ceremony of the Barcelona Olympics in 1992. And maintained an active interest in politics. He was a member of parliament for the Greek Communist Party for most of the 1980s but later served the cabinet of the conservative government. He spoke at rallies supporting Palestinian statehood, against the war in Iraq and more recently in opposition to an agreement to end a name dispute between Greece and North Macedonia. His defenders saw him as a unifier, willing to take bold decisions to try to heal the country's bitter and long-standing political divisions, many rooted in the Cold War. Fans who disagreed with him looked past his politics, and tributes to Theodorakis Thursday came from all of Greece's political parties as well as his fellow artists. He was a giant and we were all proud of him. His music, his life, he was unique, singer Manolis Mias, who worked extensively with Theodorakis said. Greece was orphaned today. Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis declared 3 days of national mourning, posting a photograph with Theodorakis at his home following a recent hospitalization. I had the honor of knowing him for many years, and his advice has always been valuable to me, especially concerning the unity of our people and overcoming divisions, Mitsotakis wrote. The best way to honor him, a global Greek, is to live by that message. Mikis is our history. Funeral arrangements were not immediately available.